Welcome all to a special episode of RGN. It's been a pretty good year in the VIC-20 scene when it comes to new game releases. Let's take a look at 10 of my favourite new games for 2022. The newest release title for the VIC-20 is a conversion of the classic Activision title, H.E.R.O. For those of you unfamiliar with the game, your mission is to rescue trapped miners from underground caves. You're equipped with a helicopter backpack, a laser beam shooter, and a limited supply of dynamite for you to use to destroy the walls. There are 20 levels on offer in total as you navigate caverns filled with nasty creatures and walls of magma. This is a nice little conversion for the VIC-20. Graphics are colourful and sound effects do their job. The game allows you to start off from later levels, which helps avoid getting bored or frustrated by playing the early levels repeatedly. I was initially put off a little by the feel of the controls, but after a couple of plays I had gotten used to them and had a great time with the game. H.E.R.O for the VIC-20 is compatible with both PAL and NTSC machines, but requires 32 kilobytes of RAM expansion to run. Deep Scan is a port of a 1979 Sega Gremlin arcade game, which sees you control a battleship that drops depth charges in an attempt to take out submarines while avoiding the missiles launched at you by the subs. Deep Scan is a nicely presented arcade game with colourful graphics. It is simple to play as you push your joystick either up or down to fire depth charges. Bonuses are awarded when you hit red submarines, and as you play on, the action gets more frantic with time. Deep Scan is only compatible with PAL machines and requires a 35 kilobyte RAM expansion to run. Galaxian Sleena is a fast-paced shoot-'em-up high-score chaser. Having access to only a single ship, you need to traverse your way through an alien megastructure by blasting everything in sight. Watch out for the asteroid fields, as blasting these large rocks will leave behind smaller remnants that will also need to either be avoided or disposed of. Galaxian Sleena is somewhat addictive, as I couldn't help myself from having another go time and time again just to try to get a little further ahead. Galaxian Sleena runs on both PAL and NTSC machines and does not require any RAM expansion. Get More Diamonds is a sequel to Get the Diamonds, released in 2021. Take charge of Diamond Dylan as you try to navigate your way through 8 levels collecting diamonds while avoiding the baddies. All diamonds on the level must be collected in order to be able to progress through to the next. You will need to collect keys in order to unlock doors that will grant you access to locked off areas in the game. But note that the game has a slight puzzle element to it, as on later levels the keys must be collected in a specific order, otherwise you'll get stuck. Extra lives are available for you to collect, and you can also use invincibility shields to kill enemies. Get More Diamonds is a fun arcade platform game that has just the right amount of difficulty curve to it that might send you into a fit of rage from time to time. Graphically, the game looks good, even though it exhibits a little bit of a ZX Spectrum look, especially with the colour clash that occurs throughout the game. Get More Diamonds plays on both PAL and NTSC machines, but requires a 35 kilobyte expanded VIC-20. Crash is a port of a 1979 arcade game by Exidy. Crash is a two-dimensional maze racing game where you control a car with no brakes through a maze collecting dots. At the same time, a computer-controlled car runs through the same maze in the opposite direction with the intention of ramming you. At each of the 4 junctions in the maze, you have the option of changing lanes to avoid the oncoming car. The objective is to pick up all the dots before the computer takes you out. Simple game with a simple presentation, providing an early arcade feel. Crash is both PAL and NTSC compatible and requires an 8 kilobyte RAM expansion. Getting back into playing VIC-20 games can be a little tricky due to many of them requiring RAM expansion packs to work. From an emulation perspective, Vice would be the easiest way to go, as it provides an easy way to set RAM expansion settings. Simply go to Settings and then select the Machine option. Under Model Setting, you will find an easy-to-use drop-down field to specify your RAM expansion requirements. Note that selecting All means 35 kilobyte RAM expansion. Once you have made your selection, reset the emulator and you're now ready to load up your VIC-20 game. If real hardware gaming is more of your thing, then I'd recommend that you head on over to the Future Was 8-Bit website and order yourself the Penultimate Plus cartridge that will provide you with all of your RAM expansion needs. And while you're there, pick up a SD to IEC device to run your VIC-20 games off a SD card. RGM produced a video on these devices back in 2019, so you might want to check out that video after you're done with this roundup. Back to the games. Super Monza Grand Prix is a first-person racer which will remind many of you of pole position. 2 game modes are on offer, the first being 5 laps competitive racing and the other being race against the clock. I'm just going to say from the outset that I really enjoyed the game quite a bit. The competitive race mode eases you into things initially, as you only have to deal with one competitor at a time, before you get to the stage where the slow backmarker cars start getting in the way. By no means is this an easy racer to win. Every position has to be earned, and you do obtain great satisfaction in doing so. At the same time, if you bump into another car, you're often penalised by losing a position or two. I think it's this risk-reward element that makes me enjoy the game so much. It can get intense. I would love to see more tracks become available, if it is possible at all. The race against the clock mode sees you having to deal with multiple cars from the outset and is a fun deviation from the competition racing. Super Monza is both PAL and NTSC compatible and requires a 16KB expanded VIC-20. Flood is an interesting arcade strategy game, which sees you have to break the walls of various buildings in order to collect the items contained within them. And you need to do all this while avoiding water that gradually floods the surrounding land, as if your player touches water, then this depletes his health. There are 8 levels in total, with the flood pattern and building materials being different as you progress through the game. Once your health is depleted, then it's game over, so you need to be quick and careful with how you move about. Not a bad game at all, though breaking through a building is a little finicky as your player often gets stuck as he tries to walk in and out of them. Flood runs on both PAL and NTSC machines and requires a 16KB RAM expansion. Jovian Moonlander is a lunar lander style of game where your job is to travel to the large moons of Jupiter to deliver critical medical supplies and other rare essentials to the different moon bases. You need to use both lateral and vertical thrusters to control your craft, taking care not to come into contact with any walls. Note that using thrusters will reduce your fuel supplies. Along with landing at slow speed, you must be in a lateral position when doing so, otherwise your craft will crash if there is any sideways momentum at all. I found Jovian Moonlander to be quite challenging, but I do like the feel of the controls. They are not too sensitive, which meant that I was able to make slight adjustments to my trajectory without worrying that I would push myself way out of position. Jovian Moonlander works on both PAL and NTSC machines and requires an 8KB RAM expansion. Cacorm requires you to control a character around to collect all the stars on screen while avoiding enemy monsters. Your character leaves a line trail behind him as he moves around, and drawing a complete shape around one or more stars results in them being collected. Drawing shapes around multiple stars in one go will result in more points being awarded. The line trail can be used to block off monsters, adding further strategy to the gameplay. Cacorm may have a simple premise, but is well executed and is a fun old school arcade game. Cacorm works with both PAL and NTSC machines and requires a 16KB RAM expansion. Help Bodge is an arcade platform game where you need to help Bodge complete his mega project by collecting components that have been scattered around by his cheeky minions. For each level you need to collect 4 components before making your way to the exit, but take care as the cheeky minions are out to stop you. You must avoid coming into contact with them and other hazards such as spikes. Another thing to look out for is that Bodge can only fall down small distances from platforms, so don't get any ideas about making huge leaps down from one platform to another. There are 20 levels in total and each level must be completed before the timer runs out. To help him with his quest, Bodge has the ability to shoot enemies, but note that bullets are limited, and there are tunnels that take Bodge from one side of the screen to the other. H.E.R.O Bodge is very well presented with its multicoloured graphics. It has a balanced difficulty curve with some minor strategic elements added to the gameplay. I really enjoyed my time with H.E.R.O Bodge, and I would consider it to be my favourite VIC-20 game for 2022. H.E.R.O Bodge is playable on both PAL and NTSC machines and requires 35 kilobytes of RAM expansion. And that is a wrap on our VIC-20 new game roundup. I was truly impressed with what is currently available for this little old beige machine, and had a blast trying out all the new games on offer. All the games featured in this roundup are available as digital downloads, with links to all in the video description. Until next time, bye for now.